Welcome in, Backpackers. Dave here with another edition of Off Grid. I'm into backpacking, hiking, camping, and gear, and it is new gear time. That new gear smell. We've got a brand new one here, and this is by Fire Maple. This is their newer model, or their newer version of their orange gas lantern. Now, to get everything out of the way real quick, I did end up reaching out to this company because I did a recent podcast on the Gearholics cast where I took a deeper dive into Fire Maple's products, and there were two standouts in particular that I really wanted to check out. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, I'm kind of interested. Would you be willing to send a couple of pieces out for me to test out for you? And they were gracious enough to send a couple out, so thank you very much to Fire Maple for that. So this video is not sponsored by them. They were kind enough again to send me these products for free to test out, but are in no way, shape, or form swaying my opinion on these products here. So today I figured I'd do a quick roundup on this one here, sort of a first look, an unboxing, right, because it's not out of the box yet. I wanted to save that for you guys here, and then I'll do a little test for you guys to kind of show you what it looks like. So before I even dive into the box right here, I'm just gonna kind of go over some of the tech specs. Got the tech specs and materials, all the good stuff that you guys are kind of used to for my first looks on different products here. So just off the box here, what is different, right? So the biggest differences are going to be the material of what they had the base made out of, and then the design of the glass. So I think they went from some sort of alloy to a bronze, I think, over to a copper base for their newer model. They also have their name on more of like a badge kind of look, instead of just like etched on the side, so making it look a little bit more vintage. And then they're calling this a water ripple glass effect here. So again, kind of making it look more like old world, more vintage there, rather than just the smooth, like clean and clear look from the original one that they had. So some of the other specs here on the box, they're saying 3.7 inches by 1.97 inches by 5.28 inches. It weighs in at 163.7 grams, or about 5.8 ounces. I'm gonna pop it on my scale here too to see if that's just the weight of the unit or if that's the weight of everything that's included, because they also include a carrying case so you can protect the glass in your pack there. And then they also say that it uses about 4 grams of fuel per hour on the box here. I've actually gotten, I think, about 2 to 3 different statements. I also had a rep that I was talking to that said it used somewhere around 10 grams of fuel per hour, and then I think in some of their other literature that they provided me here was somewhere around 8 grams. So I really don't know exactly how much it's going to use per hour. I'm going to do more time trials and testing on this and get back to you guys at a later date on that one. But anywhere from about 4 to 10 grams of fuel per hour. So if it is 10 grams and you're using it for like 3-4 hours a night, and you're bringing like one of these smaller gas canister stoves, you could use closer to like half of the can if you're using it for a bunch of hours when you're out at camp at night. So let me also dive into why I ended up picking this up real quick. I think it's because there's a lot of places, especially where I'm at in SoCal, that have fire bans throughout the year. There could be some winter style camping where you can't have a fire, or there could be some terrains, right? Maybe you're up over tree level or something like that where it's difficult to collect the firewood. I'm just like, I'm coming up with like more and more examples of instances where you can't have a campfire, right? So something like this kind of comes in perfect. I'm calling this like the gear that you never knew that you kind of needed and or wanted. And this kind of fits the bill. So I really enjoy a campfire when I'm out there, and I can't always have one. So just like getting that ambiance back, right, that glow, that campfire look and feel, really I think increases your overall enjoyment when you're at camp. So enough of all that. I think that's pretty good on the tech specs here. Let's dive into it here for the unboxing. See what it comes with. So not a lot. This is pretty much everything right here, mostly in that one cylinder, nothing else in the box, and they just have their instructions right here. I'm a dude, so we end up tossing that aside and only using it in case it blows up in our faces. All right, so it comes with everything kind of nestled into this case right here. It's actually pretty cool. It looks a little bit different than I think the other case. If you have the prior model of this too, I think the case was a little bit more, I would say, sleek or more form-fitting than this one here. So this one definitely seems like, I'm not sure if you can see in there. If not, I can try to get some B-roll in here for you guys, but it's form-fitted to this cylindrical case, but they only have foam on the top and bottom. But I would, you know, assume, especially because of how much it fits in, yeah, it doesn't rattle around or anything. There's no noise. It kind of fits it really nicely. I have my doubts as to whether or not this is actually going to be 5.8 ounces here, so let's get the old scale out here and turn around. I think it's going to be 5.8 for just the unit right here. So in grams, we've got 158 on my scale, and if we switch that over to ounces, 5.55, so actually a little bit under their stated weight of, I think, 5.8, I think it was. So let's get it back in its case here and put it back on the scale. And with the case, you're at right on 10 ounces, maybe a shade under that. So a little bit of a bummer. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer to, I don't know, with the case, I was hoping for maybe like 7 ounces or something like that. 10 makes this a little bit more hefty. But again, you know, this is more of a luxury item. It's not going to be something that, you know, you're going to take necessarily on every single trip here. So you're looking at almost double the weight for the canister, which you kind of need, right, in order to protect it. Maybe you can think about, you know, a way to wrap this with some other kind of towel or something if you want to risk it there. But let me give you a little bit more up close look on this one here. Again, you can see their name just kind of stapled on there, and then you got the valve. Everything else just kind of makes it look similar to like a gas stove almost. And I was thinking that this ripple design here was going to be a little bit more aggressive. In real life, it doesn't. It looks a little bit more muted. It doesn't look like it's going to, you know, affect, you know, the overall look of the flame that much. They had also mentioned for some of the other, you know, talking points here, which again, I'm not opted to say, but I just thought was kind of cool. I know it's an adjustable flame too. You got the valve here, right? It's sort of like a valve on a stove, right? That also folds up so that it can kind of be a little bit more compact for you. And then just a standard like thread on to your normal, you know, isopro can here. So what I did was I refilled this for the test here. So let's light this sucker up real quick and kind of show you what it looks like. Let's get all the flammable stuff out of the way. Before I light my whole place on fire here. And let's turn around for the first time. I also use one of my like knockoff flip fuels like right before this, which again I can't necessarily recommend to people. Kind of use at your own risk. So I'm really hoping that this works out for me here. Okay, I actually did have to look at the instructions on this one. You need your own lighter. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons if I can get this guy lit here. Hey-ho! Bunsen burner time, like at school. All right, so as you can see, it did have a little bit. It has a little window right here. Let me see if I can show you on camera. Has a little igniter window. You can kind of like rotate it around and get a lighter in there, but it's only if you really have like one of these, like a wand lighter that goes a little bit further in there, right? If you have like the mini Bic, I would just recommend just popping this off. It is actually easy enough to pop it completely off and light it that way, and then just put the this glass protective case around it back on again. But you know, not too hard if you have one of these here. So let's talk about the pros and cons real quick before wrapping this one up, because I don't want to go too long on it. For the pros, obviously you've got the ambiance, right? You've got the glow at camp. It is a smaller size, right? Even with the protective case, I mean, this is a little bit more bulky than I would have wanted, but this isn't that large. You know, I'd say, you know, here's one of my Zevia cans here. Then this is a little bit taller of a can, so it's a little bit larger than like your standard like soda can, I would say. So sort of like a smaller mug size here. So it doesn't take up a ton of volume in your pack. I don't think I talked about the price point on this guy. I think on their site here, and this particular model, since it's a newer one, isn't available just yet. I think I'm going to be launching this video somewhere around the time that they launch this, but for their older one, it's somewhere around that $28 price point. So really not that expensive either for what it is and kind of like what you get for it. Again, it's a luxury item, so it's something that is going to increase your enjoyment at camp. So those are all kind of like the pros, right? Over to the negatives real quick here. First of which is, I think this is supposed to come with what they call a cleaning needle, which means if this little spout here where the fuel comes out is to ever get like gunked up with debris or whatever, you're supposed to be able to like pick it out with the needle. I wasn't able to find that in here, so I don't know if this is just an early test run of one of their models, but I wasn't able to find anywhere in the case or anything else. So that was a little bit of a bummer. The other thing too is how you light it, right? It doesn't have its own like click lighter. I think that would be a cool future enhancement that they might want to end up considering putting into this thing, is having a little piezo or something like that in order to light it, rather than trying to figure out, your own lighter situation. And then the last thing would be, and this is kind of like a gray area, would be probably, the fuel consumption, right? Like how much fuel is this going to end up using when you're out in the field? Obviously, if you've got this like cranked all the way up, and I just extinguished it, so good one, Dave. So obviously if you got it cranked all the way up here, that's a little bit volatile. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But it is adjustable, right? And with the wind protection here kind of coming around this cone, it's pretty nice. Like, it's pretty decent. Like, I would actually really enjoy this. It's a little bit smaller than what I had originally envisioned it was going to be. So true to like the backpacking form, right? It is a little bit more compact, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I think there's a lot to like about this. You can kind of, I really enjoy like kind of like adjusting the flame, the flame here to get the right height for it. But I think it's really cool. I'm trying to listen to it too. Like it's super silent. Like you don't even hear it running at all. I mean, this is, yeah, it's like dead quiet. It's literally just like, a small flame. Now, when you crank it up, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but you can actually hear the flame as you crank it up. And if you've got it lower like this one here, we're at the medium, right? Like I can't really hear it at all. So really cool. It's not a jet engine like, the stoves that are out there. And I actually really enjoy this, just using it and firing it up for the first time. All right, that's gonna do it on the newer version of the Orange Lantern by Fire Maple. Huge thanks to Fire Maple for giving me this to test out in the field. I'm really going to enjoy this. Like I said, I go to a lot of different places that I can't have a fire at, like Joshua Tree or other areas that are in fire burns and whatnot. So this is definitely going to come in handy when I'm out in the field, and I think I'm going to enjoy it quite a lot. So if you're looking for a cool luxury item that gives you that campfire experience when you can't have one, definitely give this a look. It's really inexpensive, and it's a really cool luxury item. All right, so that's gonna do it for me on this one. I'm gonna extinguish this here before I end up burning down my place again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you've thought about picking this one up, or if you have this one, what's your experience with it? I want to hear all about it in the comments. Do you think it's goofy, or do you think it's actually something that you could get some use out of? And that's gonna do it for me on this one. Again, huge thanks to Fire Maple for sending this out for me to check out. And remember, if you headed off grid, make sure you do your research and you make it a safe one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh yeah. Here's the dude. Only you can prevent forest fires.